Okay, looking at lesson 22, I'm going to take this one a little slowly because I know that maybe you did not learn distance like this. Rate times time equals distance like this. However, I am a firm believer that is the easiest way to do rate times time equals distance. If you like different ways, talk to me. I don't really like teaching different ways. So try to convert. If not, talk to me and we'll work it out. Okay? Or if you're like, well, Mrs. I got them my way and I don't need any help from you. That's also fine. It's totally fine. Okay, here we go. Look at example 1. Anytime I have rate times time equals distance, I write it this way. Rate, time, distance. Here's my equation. I don't write that. I never write that because I know that this times this equals this. Okay, but I wrote it up there so I could explain that. Roger Lujan, just kidding, it's Roger. Roger made the trip on Sunday. Judy made the same trip on Monday. Okay, so I'm going to put up here, Roger, Judy. Roger traveled at 12 miles per hour. That's his rate. Judy traveled at 20 miles per hour. That's her rate. So her time was 2 hours less than Roger's. So her time is 2 hours less than his time. I don't put any subscripts, I don't put any little letters, I just put that time and time minus 2. Okay? How far did they travel? Well, one thing that we know is that the distances are equal because it's the same trip. So I'm just going to put D and D. Okay? So I'm going to set up my two equations. I know that 12 times T equals D. Right? Because rate times time equals distance. And I know that 20 times T minus 2 equals D. So it's going to be 20 times T minus 2 equals D. And then I'm going to be able to solve for T and D. Okay? So we have 20T minus 40 equals D. Okay, well, what we can do is, we know that this is D, I'm going to put that into here. 12T equals 20T minus 40, right? Substituting this D into that D. And then I'm going to solve for T. I'm going to move the 20T over here. That's going to be negative 8T equals negative 40, so T equals 5. Okay? The question, though, is how far do they travel? So we know that the T is 5. Once I know that the T is 5, 12 times 5 equals D. So they traveled 60 miles. And that's your answer. Okay? We can go right into example 2 because, like I said, I always keep my table the exact same length. No matter what kind of problem it is, if it's a distance problem, it looks like that. RTD. So look at example 2. Briar Rabbit hopped off toward the briar patch at 10 kilometers per hour. So Briar Rabbit went 10 kilometers per hour. At 10 a.m. Okay, we're just going to write that up here because that's not a time. It's not 10 hours. It's just 10 a.m. So I'm going to write it there to help me later. At noon, Briar Wolf began the chase from the starting point. If he caught Briar Rabbit at 2 p.m., how fast did he run? Okay, so we're going until 2 p.m. We're looking for his rate. They have the same distances because it says, here comes Briar Rabbit. If he's going, then Briar Wolf is chasing him and found him. So they went the same distance, so D and D. Okay, in order to find the time, he went from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. That's going to be 10 to 12 is 2, 12 to 2 is 4. So erase this, we know that's 4 hours. And Wolf went from noon, which is 12 to 2, so it's 2 hours. Okay, so now we have everything that we need. This is going to be R. Right? So now we have 10 times 4 equals D, so that's 40 is D. Right? And then we have R2 equals 40. So 2R equals 40, which means that R must be 20. okay? And that's how I solve my distance problems. I know that for some of you guys it's completely different than you've seen it before, so don't hesitate to talk to me and say like, okay, well you're either gonna have to slow that down or explain it again what you're talking about, okay? So if you're confused, try to watch this part of the video again. See if you can catch what I'm doing and process what I'm doing, and if not, talk to me about it and we can work it out. The cool thing about the next part of lesson 22 is I already taught it to you. It's the triangles that I think you saw yesterday. So I don't have to teach it to you again, but you're gonna have a practice on it in the practice one. So go ahead and do the practice ones right now, and I'll tell you what the answers are. Okay, here we go, 22, letter A is 126 miles. That's what it's asking for, right? Let me see. How far they traveled? 126 miles. Letter B is X is 35 over 6 and Y is 15 over 2. Okay, so let's go into it. It says Elvira made a trip on Tuesday and David made the same trip on Wednesday. So we already know that the distances are the same because they're the same trip. It's Elvira and David. Okay? Elvira traveled at 14 miles per hour. David traveled at 21 miles per hour. So his time was 3 hours less than Elvira's. So time minus 3 and time. Okay? How far did they travel? So here we go. Let's set up our equations. 14 times t equals d. And 21 times t minus 3. So it's going to be 21t minus 63 equals d. Okay? So we're going to substitute 14t into d here. So we'll go 14t equals 21t minus 63. We subtract our 21 over here, that's negative 7t equals negative 63, so t equals 9. If t equals 9, then 9 times 14 is going to give us 126 as your distance. Okay? In order to do the triangles like we did them the other day, this is going to be 2, across from 2 is going to be circle, across from 2 is going to be circle. Across from 1 will be a square, across from 1 will be a square, and then I'll have my 7 and my X is my hearts. Okay? So I'm going to do 6 over 5 equals 9 over Y. Crisscross and multiply, that would be 45 equals 6Y. So Y equals 45 over 6. I think you can reduce that down to 15 over 2. Let me just check that though. Yep, 15 over 2. Okay? Then for your X, I'm going to do 6 over 5 again equals 7 over X. Crisscross and multiply, that would be 35 equals 6X. So 35 over 6 is your answer there. Okay? Any questions, let me know. But if not, have an awesome day, you guys.